Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do hit the bell so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. You can find the link to that in the description below. Also, at the top of the chat with other traders, chat with myself. I share ideas there. You can share ideas there as well. And of course, you can find out a bit more information about Elevating Traders if you're looking to do so. But guys, welcome back to another stream. Good morning, Ahmed. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Dark Sean, as always, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so I'm guessing that's for pound yen. Sell confirmation for pound yen 930. Target 50 pips. If one doesn't help, stop loss already at break even. Okay, we'll take a look at that for you, no problem. But first, we'll go for USD pairs as always. But I will promise I do get to GJ, and we'll take a look at the 5-minute. See what's going on. Ahmed, gold pushing up. Yep, we'll take a look at that as well. Gold's looking very bullish. What's up, Philip? Welcome to the stream. I'm doing well. My weekend was good. Thank you for asking. Hope your weekend was good as well. DXY is bullish, and the monthly and weekly is bullish movement. Yeah, I do agree. My bias hasn't changed overall. What's up, John? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I mean, I'm going to get to the DXY right now. But yeah, my bias overall hasn't changed for the dollar. It's still up. If I go to like the daily, weekly time frames, market structure is still up. We're still trading above this area of resistance, which is the key thing I'm looking at for pretty much the whole year for the DXY, because we've been trading inside this range for the past 2 years roughly. And this looks like the breakout of the range. So I'm actually looking for the longer term push back to the highs there. So overall bias for dollar is actually still very much bullish. However, dropping to the low time frames, things are getting a bit more tired. Starting to see some rejection. We had a lot of momentum last week to the upside, but I just left behind big wicks there. So we're seeing price struggle at the highs as well. Overall, very, very corrective as well. So it looks like price either may have a deeper correction for a slightly bigger pullback before continuing to the upside, or perhaps this might be a big fake out and price does break underneath that range and we see a bigger move to the downside. So in terms of the overall bias, I do agree. Weekly kind of time frame still shows upside, and I still do agree with that bias overall. And in terms of the market structure as well, this is still our last major swing low, which gave us our swing high up here. So technically speaking, dollar still has to break through this low for me to become actually bearish on this one, because we'll be breaking through the swing low and breaking underneath the range high as well. So that'll be two birds, one stone. So overall, I am bullish. But in terms of the current price action, with that kind of rejected momentum, really strong push to the upside, followed by a very strong push back down, does lead me to expect more downside. I did mention in the weekly analysis that this downside might just be a push back into the lows before price does go and find support and push back up again. Of course, we well could push the upside from here. Could be anticipating a move to the downside that just doesn't happen. So that could be a possibility as well. But based on how price has moved, how aggressive we've seen price move as well, the fact that we are still pretty corrective on the way up does lead me to expect a bit more downside there for dollar. But overall, I am still bullish. We still haven't taken up those lows yet. We're still not underneath the weekly range. Therefore, the bias is still very much up on the higher time frames. But lower time frames, I do fancy a move to the downside there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for the dollar. But in all honesty, the price action isn't particularly great. We've been a little bit flat. Prior to this, we had a pretty clean trend, higher highs and higher lows. Things were looking pretty, a lot easier to map out and read. Now things are getting a bit more choppy. So it's a sign that things are slowing down. Perhaps we're forming a bit of consolidation, maybe a bigger pullback forms, but we haven't, necessarily changed direction yet on the higher time frames. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the DXY bias. But I'll go through the rest of the USD pairs, share my bias on that, talk about the gold and silver. Then we'll get to other pairs as well, like pound gem. Remember, Trump is announcing new tariff. Yes. That could be bullish as well for the dollar. That's true, of course. Fundamentals will have their say as well. from a technical standpoint, things do look corrective, and I do fancy me to the downside. But of course, if fundamentals change that bias, if we see a lot of momentum to the upside, I'll look to adjust and see where we could go from there. In all honesty as well, I'm not really looking to trade USD pairs right now. Dollar CAD is the only USD pair which I do like, which is not quite ready for me to be shorting just yet. So we'll go take a look at that in a second. But Euro USD, Pound USD, I'm not really a big fan of the price action there. I'm more focused with the yen pairs at the moment and a few other pairs which we'll get through. So yeah, I'm not really a big fan of Euro USD. Again, with this one, it's the same situation as the DXY, but flipped. We still got the major swing high up there, major swing low down there. That's still our bearish leg. Potentially price could still be looking to pull that back and continue. As long as we don't take out the high there, I would still have that bias. But of course, as we can see, it's been a very kind of choppy move in the market. We're starting to form some higher lows, lower highs as well. So price overall kind of just squeezing a little bit in this triangular pattern. So the price action hasn't been clean. I think that's the right word. Price may still be bearish in the higher time frames, but it's not clean. Therefore, I'm not really looking to trade it. There are other pairs that look a lot better, which we'll go through shortly. Euro USD still looks pretty corrective as well. So I'm waiting to see price take out these highs and lows. This is what I was talking about in the weekly analysis. I'm not really looking to get involved until I see price make a strong push to the upside or a strong push to the downside. And then I'll look for opportunities. Because at least at that point, there's momentum, a bit of clarity in terms of direction as well. And then I can look for opportunities. But right now, I'm kind of just in the middle of things. So Euro USD, very, very flat bias. If my bias on the DXY short term does play out, we could see a move to the upside for Euro, potentially back to the highs there. But like I said, I'm not interested myself until I see confident highs being taken out. And then I'll look for opportunities. Again, whether to the upside is the downside, I'm not really too concerned. I'm just looking for a good opportunity in the market. Pound USD looks a little bit better than Euro, so I do have a bearish bias for this one. I did say on the weekly analysis as well, for a bit more of an intraday setup, should price break through support with some clear momentum, pullbacks do look good for this one intraday. Perhaps a push back down to the swing low does depend on how things set up, but something like this, a retest of the low, could look like a really nice opportunity on an intraday level. Markets forming lower highs, we're still seeing impressive bearish momentum to the downside. If we can see that in a similar fashion again, that would be great. And yeah, push back to that low looks pretty likely. Of course, we got the swing low down here. You can always leave positions to run towards, but overall, to me, Pound USD looks pretty bearish. We respect the highs very well last week. Of course, respecting support as well. Prior support turned resistance, so that was a healthy rejection. And again, if I expand to the higher time frames, we're still forming consistent lower highs as well. So you've got one over there, second there, third there. This could be your fourth for, again, another push to the low. So Pound USD still seeing bearish momentum, still seeing bearish structure. The trend's a little bit easier to maneuver with here for Pound than Euro. So I prefer this one. And in terms of opportunities, this could look good here, maybe later in the week if you do see price continue to push through. And then we can start to talk about these lows should we get the break of 1.225. But I do still have a bearish bias for Pound USD. I think the Bank of England interest rates helped with that, keeping pound pretty bearish. In terms of dollar CAD, dollar CAD, we'll take a look at dollar CAD next. In terms of dollar CAD for this one, like I said, this is the only USD pair which I do really like because of the massive fake out to the upside. Because I know a lot of positions would have been liquidated above the highs here. Now I want to use that to my advantage, expecting follow through to the downside. As I said last week and on the weekly analysis, there's two ways I'm looking to trade this. The safer way would be waiting for price to break outside of this support level. So commit to the downside, then look for pullbacks of that and so on and so forth. Or the slightly more aggressive trade, but could be a bit more rewarding if it does play out in terms of the bigger move. Waiting to short back at the high of the range. So should price respect support well and we do push up, this could be a really nice place to short. Not only are you the high of the range, but if you can hold a short back to the low and it gets the breakout, you can potentially hold that for a lot further. And of course, you'll be shorting at a better price as well. So your risk to reward should be a lot greater there as well. But in terms of the analysis, I've mentioned a few times dollar CAD trading at really, really big levels here on the weekly chart. As you can see, massive resistance here at 1.46, 600, 1.47 roughly. Massive resistance once, twice, and there again. So the possibility of another move to the downside is pretty likely. Again, I'm not necessarily expecting a massive sell-off like we did in those two prior occasions. Just the reaction, possibly to retest this level here, I think is a pretty reasonable expectation for dollar CAD. And of course, it all does play, DXY and USD news will play a big role in that. But in terms of the technicals, things do look pretty bearish, and we're definitely trading in bearish territory right now for dollar CAD. So shorts look good, just waiting for the break and retest, or should we push up to the high there at 1.4485? I think that's a nice place to short as well. I do expect a lot more downside there for USD CAD. In terms of Aussie dollar, I'm not the big fan of this one. It does look like price is just consolidating at the low here. So you've got equal highs. Well, not really equal highs. We create a new high, create a new low, but more or less the market isn't going anywhere. Start between support, start between resistance. So because we've had a pretty long-standing bearish trend in the market, as we can see since September, we've been trending pretty well to the downside. Now it's starting to become a bit more flat. Is this the bottom of the trend? Is this where price finds its feet before we do see an upside move? Potentially. What I'll be looking for is price to break the highs and looking for pullbacks afterwards, because at the moment we've just broken lows, so price could still form a lower high and continue down, but I'm not really interested in shorting because we're not really seeing that momentum that we once had with the bearish trend. It's looking a little bit dry. So unless we really break to the downside with some heavy momentum, then I'll contemplate some more shorts. But at the moment, things are drying up to the downside. We're seeing a lot of rejection at daily support there as well. And if you look to the left, massive daily support level here as well. We zoom out, really big reaction to the upside. As you can see, we're trading at a similar price right now. So, did not mean to do that. So as we can see, price is at really strong support. And, a potential move to the upside does make a load of sense from here. But in terms of actually finding a good buy, I do want to see price take out the highs again and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same situation, although I do prefer Aussie because we're at major support. This one's not quite there yet. Well, it's pretty much in the same area, but Aussie dollar's testing the area a little bit better. New Zealand dollar is pretty much at support as well, but Aussie's kind of pierced through and taken out the wick as well, which is very, very important because that means liquidity has been taken. If you look at Aussie dollar, if I draw it from the wick low there, you can see we spiked through that. So now I expect a reaction to the upside. Of course, as the USD will probably do the same thing. They move in a very similar fashion. So if Aussie dollar makes the move up, New Zealand dollar probably do the same thing as well. But the Aussie ticks more of my boxes, so I'd rather trade that one. But it's the same, pretty much same price action. More or less equal highs here, equal lows there. Market's consolidating. We've had a really nice bearish trending for a while. It looks like we're forming potentially a bit of a bottom for that trend. If that's the case, let's break to the upside, then find some pullbacks, higher lows, and then some upside as well, and then possibly some shorts if we do want to continue that trend later on. But that's really the play I'm looking for. That might take a while to set up. And yeah, in terms of gold, gold is flying to the upside. Very, very bullish this morning. Very strong 4H candle close there, breaking the highs. On the weekly analysis, I noted that gold is starting to consolidate. Equal highs there, failed to break through last week after NFP. So it looks like price is in a bit of a consolidation. I said, okay, we might see price pause a little bit. If you're looking for buys, you want to see price break the high strongly, which we've done 100%. Now that does present some opportunities for some pullbacks. I'll still keep it intraday because gold is still a bit overstretched to the upside. We've been very consistent with the higher lows, I must say, but we haven't really seen a meaningful pullback in a while for gold. It's just been push, slight pullback, push, slight pullback, push. So the market is definitely due something like this eventually. But of course, I'm not going to try and expect that or predict that. We don't really have much signs saying that will happen. We do have that 3K big psychological level up there, which may be where price is heading towards. Looks like we just hit 2,900. So I don't know, maybe we'd see a bit of a reaction. But in terms of intraday, I would keep with that bullish bias, looking for more pullbacks, expecting more upside, at least trading it back to the relative high there. So yeah, very, very bullish for gold. I'll keep it simple. Look to the lower time frame. low time frames for opportunities, and I'll just keep buying that as long as the trend stays intact. In terms of silver, it's a bit awkward. I'm still bullish on silver, looking to buy it, but I'm not a big fan of how we reacted on Friday. We had NFP, of course, and price was looking very bullish at one point. We're breaking through the highs, which we did. However, we didn't sustain that. Formed a big wick and came crashing right back down. So because of that, it's kind of ruined the setup a little bit. So if I do get into some buys with silver, I'm still looking for buys in a similar area. Still do have the same bias. Of course, gold's flying to the upside. Silver can very much do the same thing. But I do want to see price come back for another retest, wick through these lows first to show me an inability to head lower. Then I'll look for the buy. But the idea is still the same. Still looking for the next higher low in this sequence. So yeah, and still around 31.6, 31.7. But I do want to see another push to the downside, some heavy rejection at the lower time frames. Because at the moment, with this rejection here, it kind of looks like a big double top. Your prices tried to continue higher but failed. So that's more of a bearish signal than a bullish one. So I need to see some equal rejection to the downside before finding entries. But the idea is still the same. I'm still broken structure here on the left, just about, and I'm still looking for a push back to the highs there. As long as we continue this trend, I see it pushing to the highs. So yeah, still very bullish on silver, very bullish on gold. Still long-term bullish on DXY, but short-term, I think we might see a bit of a bearish move. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Not the cleanest at the moment. So not really looking to trade other than silver and USD CAD. And that's maybe Aussie dollar gives me that break me test at high. But silver and dollar CAD look good. So that's where my focus lies. Anyway, we'll go take a look at pound yen for Darkashon. What's up, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. I'm doing good. Thank you. What's up, Lazaric Ross? Yes, Euro yen. We'll take a look as well. No problem. Happy to help with dollar CAD. Yusuf, please, what do you think about buying USD in the daily time frame? Okay, I'll go through that shortly. I'll take a look at GJ first. Then I'll take a look at Euro yen and dollar yen for you. LFTJ, yes. Euro Aussie, we'll take a look. What's up, Kadam? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. What is up? Okay, so let's go take a look at GJ on the 5 minute. Okay, so that's O1. Let me go to FXCM. There we go. Okay, so 5 minute. You said you're in a trade. If I remember correctly, got a sell confirmation, price bouncing from a 5 minute resistance level. 50 pips volume. If volume doesn't help, stop loss already at break even. So I'd imagine 930. So you're selling probably from the high here, roughly. I mean, in terms of the market structure and the 5 minute chart, it is pretty nice. It was very nice actually last week when we had these low lows and low highs. I think, yeah, really nice bearish structure there. And then, of course, we had the Bank of England, which was this move here, I believe, Thursday. Yeah, really strong move to the downside. Another pullback, price creating another lower high, and then another lower low as well. And looks like we had another pullback as well. So, yeah, I'd say it's a pretty healthy pullback coming into a nice high. Also coming into that level there on the left. Maybe that's the area you're shorting from. But nice area there, 189. I like it as well. Looking for a 50 pip move. Let's see how far that is. So I'm just going to take it roughly from there-ish. 50 pips takes us probably roughly back into the high there. That's a pretty reasonable move. Not looking for anything too crazy. Market does still have these higher lows still at play. So who knows? Potentially price still wants to have a bigger move to the upside. And of course, having your targets roughly in that area allows you to take your profit and not overstay your welcome if the market does turn around. So I like the location, healthy area to short from. Targets pretty optimistic, not optimistic, sorry. Realistic, that's the right word. Pretty realistic as well. And I like the rejection there as well. Pretty nice wick, hefty momentum on that bearish engulfing candle. So I like it too. And your stop loss is already at break even. Perhaps if price does come back to the entry, you can always look to see potentially if there's another rejection for another entry, because we might fluctuate. Like you said, if volume doesn't pick up, we might come back, tag you at break even, but doesn't necessarily mean that the trade idea is incorrect or won't happen. It might just be a situation where we have another retest before actually seeing that move. But yeah, we're in an area where a lower high is pretty likely to fall. So in terms of the location, I like it. In terms of the level you're trading from, I like it as well. And targets look pretty reasonable too. So yeah, I like the idea here. Coming into a nice area. Of course, in the higher time frames, we are trading at support. So I'd watch out for that. But of course, you're trading the 5-minute chart. You're not looking for too much as well. It's not necessarily looking to swing it all the way back to these lows. Then I'd probably say be a bit careful with that. And you're looking for a smaller move. So I don't think it's such a big deal. But yeah, I do like that idea. And like I said, stop loss at break even. Can always look to re-enter if you do get another setup, another entry signal. Yeah, looking good, Dark Sean, looking good. And yeah, since your stop loss is at break even, just let the trade do its thing. If volume picks up, great. If it doesn't, worst case scenario, you walk away for break even. Anyway, let's take a look at Euro Yen. So Euro Yen is actually a pair which I'm looking at a lot. It's on the watch list. I'm looking to short this one. We've just gone and taken out these lows last week. Lovely to see that. I do expect a lot more downside. Again, if I jump to the higher time frames, what can I see? A really massive head and shoulder pattern here. So you got the left over there, you got the head, and you got the right shoulder. So to me, this is a strong sign that says, okay, the market is likely to head lower. I think the possibility of a trend continuation is quite slim right now. Of course, I don't want to say it's not going to happen. Rule number one of trading, always expect the unexpected. Of course, it definitely could happen. But in terms of probability, price moves in the path of least resistance. I know there's a pretty big level of support below us, but the fact is we're failing to create higher highs. We've had a lot of momentum to the downside. If price was going to trend to the upside, we should see a lot more confident momentum, and price should be breaking highs and forming higher lows, not forming lower highs and taking out lows as well. So that's a strong sign telling me that we probably will break this support level. So with Euro Yen, it's all about finding opportunities to keep that short bias. At the moment, we're trading at support. So this is not the time and place to be looking to short, at least from a swing point of view. Of course, if you're like right down to the lower time frames, like the 5-minute chart, you can probably find opportunities there for the short term. But in terms of a swing, you're looking for a bigger pullback. So I would like to see price come back and retest the low. That would be the best case scenario for Euro Yen, at least for me anyway. If price can pull back, retest this area here, that is kind of my preferred area for a short. Generally speaking, kind of this zone here. If I do draw the fib from the high to the low, see pretty much lines up bang on the 50, but more or less that 50, 0.618 area is the area which I'll look to short from, and of course targets back to the low. But I'd always be looking to leave some positions to run because I do think we can go very, very far with the yen pairs here. So it'll be a situation where I do kind of be optimistic with targets. I do book profits, but be optimistic and let positions to run. But yeah, all I can see here for Euro Yen is lower highs stacking up one after the other. We had the high over there, massive drop. Then price formed a lower high, then price formed another one there again. And we're consistently breaking through lows as well. And now we've just broken through that low there too. So the idea is trying to find the next lower high. And since we have taken out the low, perhaps we do get a bit of a juicier pullback, a bigger pullback now since we've taken out such a big low there. So perhaps this does be the catalyst for a bigger pullback, which would be great. Find some lower highs, maybe around 159, 900, 156 pretty much. And then, yeah, shorts at least back to that low. And then we'll be expecting price to go a lot further. And that's really the plan there with Euro Yen. Pretty straightforward. Just looking for more downside. High time frames agree with the bias. Really big head and shoulder pattern. We do have a really big level of support here, but I do expect it to break. And I feel like when this breaks here for Euro Yen, we can probably expect the floodgates to really open and probably a really nice bearish trend does form. And that could be off the rest of 2025, really. So, yeah, the short bias is definitely really, really strong here for Euro Yen for me. So I'm only focused on shorts. Of course, doesn't mean it's guaranteed to sell off. It just means the probability is with the sells. So that's what I'm going to focus on. I will manage my risks. I will play stop losses. So, I'm not going all in, but it will be a position where I do look to try and stretch the trade pretty far. In terms of dollar yen, someone asked for a buy. Was you looking to take a buy? Okay, buying USD JPY in the daily time frame. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Alex, what's up? Yes, we'll take a look at US30 NAS. I'll go through the indices. We'll take a look at a bunch of them, no problem. How many pips we could be possible for Euro Yen? Okay, let me. Again, it depends what you're looking for. It depends what you're looking for. I mean, in terms of the trend reversal, I think we could be in store for a really big move, which could take us, at least back to the high here. But I think we can go even further than that, really, to be honest, possibly back to this area here. But that's a story for another day. But yeah, if we measure that from current price, we're looking for, where is it? There we are. Looking for a about 800 pip move to the low. But in terms of like a swing opportunity, which looks reasonable to trade, if you can see a pullback back into this level, roughly looking for about 350, 400 pips there into that low. But as I said, I do think price can go a lot further as well. And we could see a lot more than that. But again, you don't want to be in a position where you take a trade, then you have your targets all the way down there, because you leave yourself very exposed. Nothing's guaranteed, and price could very much just pull back against you, and there goes all your profits. So you either want to be trailing or taking partial along the way. But eventually, I am looking for price to hit those targets. So it'll be an opportunity where I look to take multiple trades, not just have one trade and try and shoot for the moon. In terms of the daily chart for dollar yen, I think we're in a really nice place. Appreciate it, Ahmed. If you guys are enjoying the stream, finding it useful, informative, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the stream, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads or streams in the future. But do appreciate everyone who has liked, subscribed. As I said, it does really help out, so I appreciate it. But yeah, in terms of the daily chart for dollar yen, it's a nice place for a buy. We're coming back into this kind of area here. So if we are going to see a higher low, it should happen in this area. If of course price does go and break to the downside and takes out the low here on the left, then that completely invalidates that bullish structure. Of course, we do have higher highs and higher lows here, but should we break it, that would invalidate the structure. Then we're looking at lower highs and lower lows back into this low. So it's a nice place for a buy. At the moment, I'll probably wait to see if we can get a solid candle closure in terms of a candlestick pattern for entries before taking a position. But we are in a nice area. Looks like we're coming back to retest some highs there on the left as well. So it looks like we are coming back into a healthy area of support, which held there pretty well. So overall, it's a nice area of confidence for a reaction. I'm personally looking for some sells for dollar yen. I'm looking for some shorts off the back of this area on the 4-hour chart, because I'm expecting the yen pairs to sell off. So for dollar yen, I do think we can get a reaction, but I just don't expect it to go too far, because I do have a pretty bearish bias longer term for the yen pairs, and I do expect dollar yen to follow suit as well. So I'm actually looking for a push to the upside, but I will be looking for sells around here at 154 to take price down. But yeah, in terms of the daily chart, it's a nice area. Of course, if you are going to see a swing to the upside and price push back to the highs, then this is pretty much the place for it. If it doesn't happen from here, then we're probably just going to break structure anyway. So this would be the place for a buy. And if you're successful with the swing, your target's back at the high there, 158.9. And if you're looking for extended targets, you can look at the high there at 161.684 as well. But yeah, nice area for a buy. But of course, you need that entry signal on the daily chart if you are looking to take any entries. But for now, it does look like price is reacting. Okay, so I'll go for US30 and NAS 100. And I will take a look at Pound Seat Chef as well for Jack. What's up, Regina? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Happy to help. LFTJ, do you prefer trading or wait till traders hit your TP? It really depends on what my TP is. If my TP is like 2R away, I wouldn't trail because there's just not enough room for me to trail. I'll let the market kind of give its maximum amount of room for it to hit my target. But if I'm looking for anything more than like a 4 or 5 to 1 there, I would be trading, just because it doesn't make sense to hold all the way to my final take profit. Of course, if it does hit, it's great. But there'd be many situations where you've been in a trade, you enter here, stop losses here, your target's up there, trade's going your way and it just misses and it comes back down. There's no point to give all of these profits back, to the market. Say you're up 90 pips, your target's 100 pips. There's no point of risking all of that 90 just get the extra 10 and see all that 90 get back to break even, or even worse, a stop loss. So it makes sense to either book profits along the way, so take partials, or trade a stop loss. So if price does turn against you, you do walk away with some profit rather than against you. Of course, there will be times where you do get trailed out and then price goes and hits your overall target. But again, trading is not about maximizing for one particular trade. It's about for maximizing 100 or 1,000 trades. So which is why back testing and experimenting is so important, because you can go and test 100 trades, you can go and test 1,000 trades. You can see which is more profitable. Most of the time, leaving to your overall take profit would be more profitable. But in terms of the smoothness of your equity curve, and just in terms of banking regular profits and just being slightly less stressful, especially if you have really big targets, like if your average risk reward is more than a 1 to 5, I would suggest partial take profits or trading stops, just because it will smooth out your equity curve. Because you could easily go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trades without taking a win. Whereas if you have trading stop loss, you'll be banking profits, because worst case scenario, price will trail you out. So yeah, I would recommend TPs if you do. I would recommend trading stops if you do have really big TPs. Anyway, let's go take a look at US 30 and NAS. So US 30 has been a bit of a choppy one for the indices the past couple of weeks. Things are slowing down. You can see US 30 in a very awkward area, because I've been expecting US 30 just to go and take out the all-time highs. We're very, very close, and price keeps rejecting the high pretty aggressively. It hasn't changed anything in terms of market structure. This is still the higher low that gave us the high over there, and this is the higher low that gave us the high over there. So the market is still bullish in my book, and this is still a very important level of support. So if you're looking to buy US 30, I would suggest keep a very close eye on this level here at 43,900, we'll call it. I think that's still a great place to buy, and that could be the level that sends us to the upside for new highs, or again, at least a push back to where we came from. You can look to bank profits there and trail the rest, because of course you just don't know how far we could go as an indice. We could see a massive push to 46,500 before having the next pullback. So trading stops allow you to take advantage of that. But yeah, in terms of a target, that would make a load of sense. In terms of an entry, that area would make a load of sense as well. If we do break through this, then possibly we are getting ready for a bigger pullback. But right now, this looks like a range to me: equal lows, equal highs. I would advise not to trade in the middle there. Not the best area in general. If you can get entries in here, you can get a pretty safe stop loss below the low and still maximize your opportunity for a push back to 45K. So still bullish on US 30, even though things are looking a little bit bearish now. We've rejected the high a couple times, so it does look like things are slowing down, but we haven't taken out any lows, which is the key aspect I'm looking for price to break if we are going to switch directions. So yeah, US 30 is still bullish, but I'd wait for us to head back down to support. In terms of NAS 100, are we still consolidating? Yes, we are. So things are still very, very choppy here. Again, in terms of the overall trend for NAS, it's still very much to the upside. We're still seeing a pretty confident bullish trend. If I expand to the weekly chart, what is price doing? Yeah, it's trending to the upside. So the market is definitely bullish, looking to buy NAS 100%. But the only way I see a good buy for NAS is either, number one, we push back to the low of the range, and you look for buying opportunities right at the low at 2,700. So say price does push into that area, that would make sense for a buy, solid place for an entry, solid place for a stop loss, and you can at least trade it back to the swing high there as well. Or number two, if you're looking to play momentum, you're waiting for price to break the high and then looking for pullbacks afterwards. Again, pretty simple, black and white. See if price breaks out and you find the continuation, or you buy low and target the highs again. But yeah, if you're looking to buy the market, this is not the place to be looking to buy. You want price to be breaking through that and then pulling back. And of course, just generally speaking, the middle of the range is just no man's land, whether you're looking to sell or buy. If you're looking to sell, there's the place to do it. But I would be pretty bullish with NAS because generally speaking, the trend is still pointing up. So NAS, US 30, both still bullish. S&P whilst we're at it as well. Still bullish on this one. If I expand to the weekly chart, what's price still doing? It's still comfortably trending to the upside, still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So S&P still looks like a very bullish market to me as well. And I do expect it to see new highs pretty soon. But of course, as I suggested last week, we're still forming these highs here. In fact, lower highs as well. So this is just not the place to be looking to buy. If price does make its way back down to support here at 59.40, I think that's a really nice place for a buy. Similar kind of setup to US 30. Price still respecting support here. I think that's a nice place for a buy. Of course, watch out for another lower high, which could, of course, send us back down again. But I think that's still a great place for a buy. Or should we see a confident break of the high there as well? And that could leave, again, a nice buy opportunity there too. But yeah, more or less it is pretty flat there for S&P. But the general trend is still up, so I'd still focus on buys. See if we come back into support or we break highs and we look for continuations above that. But generally speaking, the indices are still pretty bullish to me. It just might be a bit of a pause for the indices before we do continue that trend. Good morning, Karis. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so I will go take a look at pound CHF, and then we'll go through the rest of the yen pairs because, as I said at the start of the stream, CHF pairs, not CHF pairs, sorry, yen pairs are kind of where I'm seeing a lot of opportunities starting to develop right now, at least compared to the USD pairs. USD pairs look very corrective, and I'm not a fan of a lot of them, apart from dollar CAD and silver. Not a big fan of a lot of them, but there's quite a few yen pairs I'm looking at this week, so I'm going to be keeping a close eye on them. But anyway, in terms of pound CHF, so still very much stuck in the consolidation. So I'm still looking for a really big sell to the downside for pound CHF. So I'm expecting this to break lower and expecting a push all the way back down to the swing low here at 1.07849. So I'm looking for a pretty big sell here for pound CHF. However, I need price either to retest the high of the range or break out the consolidation, then look for pullbacks afterwards. This would be the better opportunity, as I suggested with dollar CAD at the start of the stream. If price can break to the downside and then pull back, that's always the best opportunity for looking to trade a bias within a range, because at least at that point, price has showed you clear evidence that will break into the downside and it will likely to move lower. Whereas you can short the high here and anticipate another swing to the downside. Of course, very reasonable trade as well, entering right at the top of the range. Can get a safe stop loss. The only tricky thing is that we can very much could push down just to push back up again, which happened to me when I shorted over here. Caught a nice move, but as you can see, price went straight back against me, which of course is something you're fully prepared for, because in a range, price is going to chop up and down. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just be prepared for it. But yeah, in terms of pound CHF, I do still see a big move to the downside. Looking for a push to these lows. We've got the lower highs here, 1 and 2. Basically looking for number 3 over here, and the push to the low. But at the moment, price is not quite at the high, so I wouldn't do anything. I'd wait for price to actually get there first, start to reject, maybe give a bit of a fake out there. That would be nice. And then we can short it back into the low. And if you do see a confident break to the downside, we can start talking about some shorts as well. If we do break to the upside, likewise, there'll probably be some nice opportunities on the buy as well. So keep that in mind too. I'm not so interested with the buys because my higher time frame bias is bearish. So I'm not so enthusiastic about the buys, but I do think if they happen well, we do see a very strong breakout. Should provide some decent retest as well. So keep an eye on that. But we're trading within the range right now, so not much really to report on until we start breaking out or at least testing the high or low of the range. Anyway, I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. So we had a look at euro yen, dollar yen. Let me get through pound yen. We had a look at this on the 5-minute chart. In terms of the 4-hour chart, again, I still like this to the downside. I'm still very bearish from pound CHF, pound CHF, pound USD, pound USD, pound yen. I'm all over the place today. Funny enough, though, I'm bearish from pound CHF and pound USD and pound yen. So technically that was correct, but we're talking about pound yen now. So yeah, pound yen very bearish in this one, looking for a push into the low here at 182. Again, the idea has still been the big drop here and then looking for the correction and the continuation for that price action. Still treating this as just a big correction of that bearish move, a bear flag, and that we're going to see a really big break to the downside. So that's still what I'm favoring here for pound yen. In terms of opportunities, again, you can see prices forming lower highs. So the plan is to try and find the next one of these lower highs. And again, if I whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high, I'm generally speaking looking for a push into the low here. That more or less lines up with the 50% of the fib. So I would like to see price push into that zone, tag the 50 as well, and then start to look for some lower highs. Again, very, very simple stuff. Short it back to where we came from. Hold positions to run back into the 183, 182 low. At the moment, it's still kind of trading at support. So this is not the best place to be looking to sell. Need price to push up first. If you have a deeper pullback, that'll be great as well. If it's to the 0.786 area, I think that'll be a great place to short from as well. Had a nice brief area of supply there where we consolidated for a few hours before a strong drop. So that would be a nice place to short from as well. As long as price doesn't go and take out this high here, that's what keeps me pretty bearish with pound yen and looking for a really big swing. If we do take out that high, I will be now expecting a push right to the top of the high there, and then that's where we're looking to sell from. But of course, we're a long way away from that, so not going to get too detailed with that scenario just yet. But for now, this is kind of what I'm looking at. Push back to 190.5 or 193. Again, just seeing how price reacts and then looking for some shorts right back to where we came from, then expecting price to go a lot further. But yeah, very bearish in pound yen. Lovely drop last week. Again, that's why I'm focusing a lot on the yen pairs. Yes, no problem, Alex. We'll take a look at dollar CHF as well. Let me go through the yen pairs quickly. So the reason why I like the yen pairs a lot this week is because last week we had a really nice drop. Yen pairs were pretty bearish. You did see a lot of continuation. So the plan this week is looking for the continuation of that bearish move. In terms of pound yen, not as big a fan of this one. I'm not looking to trade CAD yen, but I still am pretty bearish on this one as well. The yen pairs, which I do really like, is euro yen, dollar yen, pound yen, and Swiss yen. Aussie yen, New Zealand yen need a little bit of work, but they're getting there. We'll take a look at them in a second. And CAD yen as well needs a little bit of work too, but more or less still trading at support. So again, not really interested in selling this one just yet. But I still do see us pushing back to the low here at 103. Again, this one looks like a big head and shoulder pattern on the daily chart as well. Left shoulder, you've got the head over there. And of course, this is what I'm looking as the right shoulder there too. So I'm anticipating another swing back into support here. Again, same situation as pound yen as well. Big impulse. There's your correction. Now expecting the continuation. In terms of finding a sell, as I said, trading at support right now, so not the best time to do that. It would be nice if price can push up more or less back into the high there. I think that's a nice place for a short, and then start to look for some entries, and then a swing. Well, we can at least call it to the low here. Don't have to look for the home run just yet, but like I said, I do expect the bigger move to be to the downside. But yeah, for CAD yen, I do want to see a move to the upside first. Again, similar to pound yen, which we just talked about in euro yen, want to see that pullback. I don't think the setup is as clean as euro yen or pound yen or some of the other yen pairs we'll get to in a moment. which is why I'm not as interested in trading it. But again, in terms of my analysis, if I'm expecting the drop on most of the yen pairs, CAD yen's most likely going to follow through as well. I do expect it to do. I'm expecting a big drop for this one. The higher time frames actually look clearer than the lower time frames here. Daily and above look very, very clear to me. 4-hour chart and below still a little bit choppy. We've got a few gaps here and there, and things don't look that great. But expecting a drop. So yeah, push back to 108. Then we can start to talk about some shorts. CHF JPY, as I said, I really like this one. This is a pair which I'll be looking at very, very closely over the next few days. Expecting a pretty big drop here for Swiss yen. Expecting these lows to be taken out pretty soon. And again, generally speaking, I do think there's a really big move to be had for Swiss yen. I think out of all the yen pairs, this one might be the heaviest faller. I say that because we're trading at all-time highs. We've taken out the previous all-time high, which was back in 1979. Back over here, that was at 158.871. So I expect price to at least get back below that all-time high. So I at least expect to drop there. And because we've had such an impulse move to the upside, I expect pretty much an impulse move back down as well. So that's why I think this one's going to be such a hard hitter, because we're really, really overbought right now. Market's very overextended at new all-time highs. Anyone who's previously buying this thing long-term would have probably cashed in their profits by now. So I do think this is just a penny waiting to drop really for Swiss yen. And if I drop to the daily chart, you can see a really nice head and shoulder pattern kind of forming. Maybe not the cleanest one in the world, but left. Oh, that's a horrendous line there. Left, head, and your right shoulder. And of course, this is your neckline. So I do expect price to pull back and then break through. We might just break straight through, but the pullback was kind of what I'm looking for in terms of entries. And then the big short to happen. Every time I say the big short, I always keep thinking of the movie. But yeah, I'm expecting a really big sell here for Swiss franc. And in terms of entries as well, really nice bearish structure in the 4-hour chart. Equal highs over there. Then we're just seeing consistent lower highs since then. So the plan is, can we find the next lower high? And again, a retest of that low would be absolutely brilliant. Retest the low there. Pretty sure it lines up with the 0.5, maybe the 0.618 in between the two. So that's great as well. Maybe go and tag the 0.618 whilst we're there. Take entries in that area. Catch next lower high. Then off you go right back down to the low there as well. So pretty bearish here for Swiss yen. It's a market which I like because it can go very, very far. So again, in these positions, letting the trade run, letting positions run. Of course, I will be banking profits as well. I'm not looking for the move in one go, but what it does mean is that if price does create that move and we pull back again, it's a position where I want to add to my trade and find new positions to get involved with, because I do have a confident bias. And again, not every trade I do take, I will have such a long-term view. If I don't really have a long-term view of the market, I'll be looking to cut the trade pretty short. But if I do have a long-term view, I'll be looking to try and take advantage of that. And that's what I do have here for Swiss yen. So yeah, at least expecting push to this low. I mean, we're more or less there anyway. So I do think there's a good chance that low will be taken out pretty soon. But a pullback is a must if I'm going to find some entries. And around 168.839 is where I'm interested in getting involved. Okay, I'm going to have to remove you, unfortunately. So yeah, what was it? Yeah, so CHF JPY really looking good for sells. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, yeah, so these ones need a little bit of work, but I do expect a lot more downside as well. Again, all the yen pairs are going to do the same thing. We'll take a look at the yen basket in a second. But yeah, for Aussie yen as well, expecting a push back into that support, but I do expect us to break through that support as well. It's kind of like a head and shoulder pattern here as well. Not the cleanest one you will ever see, but left, head, right shoulder as well. Kind of a weird neckline there. So definitely not the cleanest one, but it's the idea that we are no longer trending to the upside and now forming lower highs. So that's essentially what I'm seeing here with Aussie yen, and again, just looking for the continuation of the drop in July. What I've been looking for for Aussie yen is the breakout of this consolidation and some pullbacks afterwards. In fairness, we kind of have the breakout of the consolidation, but it's just not a clean one at all. It's just not a clean one at all. So it doesn't really do me any good. So I need price to kind of pick up momentum before I do look for pullbacks. Technically, yes, it's a breakout, but it's just not a situation where I want to look to follow that move. It's a very corrective one, kind of gap down, so not really showing much momentum. And we've only just about pinched the high, pinched the low there as well. So I need price to really show some commitment to the downside. Then I'll be looking for pullbacks again, and then perhaps a nice retest of the low there at 95.5. And then, yeah, a lot more downside to go and take out the wicks there. And that is the plan there for Aussie yen. So Aussie yen, I do like it. If it does sort itself out, we see some nice momentum to the downside, I'll be more than happy to look for pullbacks. And the pullbacks as well, they don't have to be necessarily exactly a retest of the low. It could be, a little bit further down. It might just be the retest of, of this low here as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be the range low. All I'm looking for is clarity, momentum. So a strong move to the downside and a healthy pullback. So Aussie yen could present some nice opportunities pretty soon if it sorts itself out. Likewise with New Zealand yen as well. If this one sorts itself out as well, I do expect to see a really nice move to the downside. You can see the consolidation here as well. Nicely tight range. I have to say the breakout's a bit better with this one actually. Again, not the best in the world. It's still pretty corrective there on the way down. You can see the breakout here was corrective as well, but it's very long stretch. So looking for pullbacks of that would be nice. If you do that again, that'll be great as well. It can be corrective, but if you really commit, then I'll be more than happy to look for some pullbacks. Again, it would be nice to retest the low of the range there as well, find some opportunities there. But it can just be a retest of one of the lows on an intraday level there too. But in terms of New Zealand yen, still seeing lower lows and lower highs. We've had a pretty big consolidation, so hopefully we do see some really sturdy momentum. Typically, after these consolidations, you do see pretty big breakouts. You can see we had one over there. What followed, pretty nice breakout. Had another one over there. What followed, hopefully again, a pretty nice breakout as well. So definitely got my eye on New Zealand yen. Not quite ready yet, but if we can pick up the pace a little bit, I will be looking for some pullbacks and some more downside. And that's pretty much it for the yen pairs, I think. I don't think I missed out a yen pair. We did dollar yen. I was more looking at dollar yen on the daily chart, but in terms of the 4 hour setup, as I mentioned, looking for the retest of this zone here for some sells for again another swing to the downside. Now, dollar yen hasn't technically given me bearish structure. We still are seeing higher highs and higher lows. So I'm watching dollar yen closely because this is still very much bullish territory. You have to be careful. But of course, I'm waiting for price to push away from this zone anyway before shorting. We do have numerous lower highs. If you do look to the left, high over there, second there, third, fourth, basically looking to try and catch the fifth. And of course, shorting back to where we came from, back into the low there is very much the plan for dollar yen. And again, because we are still forming these high lows, I'm not necessarily looking for a big target. I'm not looking to stretch the trade. I'm not looking for any big move. Of course, it could happen, but I don't really have the confidence based on the higher time frame structure to do that. Same with pound yen. I do have the confidence there. Swiss yen, I've got the confidence there, so I'll let those trades run. Dollar yen, not quite as such, and especially have to be careful because I do kind of still have a bullish bias on USD on the higher time frames. So if USD is going to be bullish, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to sell dollar yen. But at least this trade here, a bit more intra-week, looks good. So if you do see that pullback, I'm looking for on dollar yen. Fantastic. I will take some shorts from 154. Quickly, in terms of the JPY basket, then I'll go take a look at dollar CHF for LFTJ. Okay, so we're back at the high there. We respected it, haven't broken through, but we are still performing pretty nice higher highs and higher lows. So I do expect us to continue to the upside at this point here. I mean, we could sell off, but based on how everything is looking, I do think this is a bit of a bottom that price is forming there. Just like we're forming some tops on pound yen, Swiss yen. I feel like this is a bit of a bottom here. So I do still see this as the bigger move for the yen basket, hence why I'm expecting the yen pairs to fall as well. Let's just clear the chart, start fresh. So again, because we're trading at major resistance here, we've taken out some highs there as well. This is just generally not the place to be looking to anticipate upside. Of course, we could break out, but equally you don't be finding that out with a trade. You know, you want price to pull down against you, find some entries lower down, then you can trade towards that area, or of course, wait for price to break through, then look for pullbacks on top. Either which way, you're trading from support, you're trading from an area where buyers are investing rather than sellers jumping to the market and buyers are exiting their positions. So yeah, for dollar yen, I like not dollar yen, sorry. For yen basket, I like the upside. We do have the high lows previously down here, so the plan is to find another one of those. A nice correction at some point this week will be much appreciated, and then yeah, taking some buys. Or of course, if we do go and break through, then we'll look for something like this later in the week as well. But I am looking for now a push into the zone up here at 7,200. So yeah, pretty bullish on the yen basket as well. Damn. They're not bad. Okay. For the messages came back there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with dollar yen. Let's go take a look at dollar CHF. So dollar CHF, again, as I said, I'm not really a big fan of the USD pairs right now, apart from dollar CAD and silver. I'll go through my watch list in a moment, but yeah, dollar CHF, I'm not the biggest fan of this one, to be honest. I mean, in terms of where we're trading the higher time frames, we're still trading at a really significant level of weekly resistance. So overall, I would be pretty bearish with dollar CHF, simply just because of where we're trading. As we can see, major support down at these lows, major resistance, rejection once, twice. We're there a third time. This is a place where, again, we could really have a really big sell on our hands. Of course, USD bias will play a big role in this. What the DXY does, if the DXY does sell from current price, we'll probably expect dollar CHF to join it. If dollar is going to keep trending to the upside, then we'll probably see a big breakout of this and then the continuation. But at the moment, we're kind of just struggling to break the high. We're struggling to do either, really. At the moment, what I can see is a pretty aggressive double top over here. So price came into the high once, pushed down, respected it again, strong push down, and didn't break the neckline, which is a key element there. I did want to see price break the neckline, because if you do break the neckline, that will be a sign that says, okay, dollar CHF likely to continue lower, and the plan will be looking for pullbacks afterwards, and things would be a lot simpler if that was the case. If price did break for the neckline, then our job's to find a lower high and keep shorting. Of course, whether that lower high forms or not, different question, but at least the clarity in terms of what I'll be looking to expect is pretty clear. At the moment with dollar CHF, because we are still technically respecting lows, looks like we might be forming a low high there. It's difficult to say, if we do push to the downside, will we just form another higher low again and push back up like we'll be doing here? Possibly. Are we still forming lower highs here? Possibly as well. So I don't really see a clear setup at the moment. I would kind of look at this more as a range, really, for dollar CHF, and now wait for price to break the low or break out that zone for terms of clarity, at least for a swing trade. So I wouldn't be looking to touch dollar CHF until a low is clearly broken or a high is clearly broken, and of course with it the weekly zone as well. If you are going to sell off, then let's break through the lows and then look for lower highs afterwards. Perhaps we can talk about the retest of this low here at 0.9 and talk about some entries there, or maybe a retest of this low. We'll make that judgment when it happens, but I don't really see a clear opportunity right now. If I drop to an intraday chart as well, I don't really see much clarity in the lower time frames as well. A bit of a V-shaped pattern, but again, nothing that gets me too excited. It's neither really forming at a low or a major level of resistance or support, really. So dollar CHF, not a great market. I'm not really seeing much clarity in the price action, not really trading at any strong area value either. So I would wait for structure to become clearer, break through some lows, break through some highs, and then we can analyze and take some higher quality setups. Because again, there will be times where you shouldn't really be looking to take a trade, or at least it isn't optimal to take positions. During those times, you want to be sitting on your hands, staying away from the charts and making sure you're ready for when the time is right to take your positions. Dollar CHF right now, although we're trading at a really big level and it could be time to turn around, at least on the 4-hour chart, it's not looking like it's presenting much of an opportunity, which could change very quickly in the space of a few days. So when that happens, you want to be there ready for it. But at the moment, you don't want to force anything and take anything that's not really there. Dark Sean, GJ picking up pace, but I don't like the wick on the previous candle. Let's have a look. That's on the 5-minute. So I see what you mean. So he did pick up the pace a little bit to the downside. However, yeah, that was a pretty aggressive wick there and a pretty strong bullish candle close as well. I wouldn't like that wick either if I was shorting. Again, it might not be the deciding candle that sends us to the upside. Of course, it could be. But what I do like, because I think you shorted probably early, probably on this candle here, or maybe that candle there, somewhere around here. So if your entry is kind of like here-ish, and it's above the high, and I'd imagine your stop losses somewhere around there too. I mean, you do have kind of this high as your protection, so I wouldn't be too worried. Of course, it could send price against you, but like you said, your stop losses break even. So in terms of risk, it's very, very minimal. But you do have this kind of area protecting you, because this, of course, was a push down. Price creates a low, create a lower high, then a lower low. So this area is kind of your defense to send price back down again. If we can push there, respect it, then yeah, you could probably catch a nice sell. Well, not another sell, but at least your trade can continue and hopefully go and hit your targets. But this is your defense here. If we can hold that, you're still in business. If you do start breaking through the highs, then yeah, it's probably going to go and hit your break even there. But yeah, that is a pretty aggressive wick to the downside. But you still kind of got this area here to to send price back down again. As long as we can respect that, should be looking pretty good. Okay, exactly there. So yeah, if your entry's there, your break evens roughly in that area as well, then I wouldn't be too worried. I've got this 188,900 area that can send price down against me. Looks like price is reacting pretty nicely off that at the moment. Of course, we'll see if that does continue. But you've got a nice high that's in your corner right now. So I think the worst case scenario would be is if this was just a one big drop to the downside and then we formed it at the low, then yeah, price could definitely V-shape that and come right back to your entry. But now that we've created structure in your favor, I think it's looking a lot better. Of course, doesn't guarantee price is going to fall in your direction, but at least there's some protection there. But yeah, I think GJ looks pretty good. I'm still looking to sell this. I'm looking for it to come a lot higher before I short, but of course, I'm looking to trade much higher time frames than you. So I'm looking for bigger pullbacks and bigger moves, at least in terms of pips. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at for myself. But intraday, things do look pretty bearish as well for pound yen. So I do like that. Anyway, in terms of my watch list, I'll quickly go through that. And then we'll take a look at some of the CAD pairs, some of the crosses as well. But in terms of my watch list, there's quite a few yen pairs on it. So as I suggested earlier, I really do like the yen pairs this week because of the drop we had last week. All I'm looking pretty much to do this week is continue that same momentum. So pound yen's on it. As I said, 191, 193 is kind of the areas I'm looking to short from. Euro yen's on the watch list as well, looking to short from this one here too. Again, they're pretty much similar opportunities, so I'm not looking to trade all of them. The only way I would get into another yen pair is if the current yen pound trading and break even at. So if there's no risk on the table for my original entry for whatever yen pound trading, then I can look to add to that because I know my risk is limited. So euro yen looking for a very similar opportunity as well. The idea is simply just looking for a pullback, retest the lows, and looking for shorts from there. In terms of dollar yen, I like the short here too. So again, another yen pair. Same idea pretty much, looking for the retest of the lows there. Next lower high, shorts back into the low. And I'll probably call it a day there with this one because we still got to watch out for this swing here. CHF JPY looks really good as well. So that's 4 yen pairs on the watch list and looking really good. Again, just seeing whichever one develops better, gives me the better trade. What's up, Lauder? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing good. So again, just going to see whichever yen pair looks the better one to trade at the time. But again, Swiss yen looks really, really good. And yeah, I think that's it. So euro yen, pound yen, dollar, yeah, Swiss yen. So that's the 4 yen pairs I'm looking at. Dollar CAD, I'm also looking at this one. This is one of the USD majors, which I actually do like the price action of, especially because of the big fake out to the upside after we kind of reacted to the high of the range there, broke through, big high, sells off really aggressively. Of course, testing the weekly zone as well. So I do expect to see a lot more downside for dollar CAD, whether we get the break and retest and some shorts there, or we pull back to the high of the range. Either which way, I'm expecting a really big sell here for dollar CAD. Silver, I'm still keeping a close eye on the buys as well, expecting to see a lot more upside, but I do want to see one more push down before I do take any buys. We did have a bit of an aggressive reaction at the high there last week, so I do want to see some aggressive reactions at the low to give me that confidence before buying. But I do expect silver to eventually get to the highs there. We took out the high there on the left, so that's another sign that says, okay, silver's likely going to keep pushing. But I need that rejection there for entries. But I am looking to buy silver around 31.6. So again, very, very bullish on silver. I'm also looking at New Zealand CHF. I really like this one to the downside, but I needed to go and take out this high first, and then I'll be looking for the sells around that area. At least at that point, I'm at clean highs, fresh highs. I'm no longer chopping around in the consolidation here. We are still forming lower highs overall. So the plan is to basically find the next one. I'm looking for it to be in that kind of region there. If I draw a fib from the high to the low of that leg, we're still trading 0.5, 0.618. So those are the areas I'm looking to short from. And if I go to the daily chart, we are retesting some price support, which now will be turn resistance here as well. If I drag that across, and hopefully we'll go and tag that same area with that push to the upside there too. So 2 birds, 1 stone situation. And then, yeah, looking for some shorts from there back into the prior low, and then hopefully this low there as well. And that's pretty much it on the watch list. CAD pairs not really interested in. Crosses, UNSD I'm keeping a close eye on, but I need a little bit more momentum before I do start looking to short. This was the bonus pair, not Euro NSD, sorry, Euro Aussie. This was the bonus pair on the weekly analysis. If you didn't catch it, feel free to go check it out. But nice breakout of the range. So I'm looking for price to hopefully push down a little bit further, because the breakout, although looks okay, but we're kind of lacking momentum a little bit. So I need this to pick up the pace a little bit, and then I'll be looking for some. It doesn't have to be that big, but just pick up the pace a little bit. Then I'll start to look for some pullbacks, perhaps the retest of the range. If we get a big enough pullback and a big enough breakout as well, and then I'll look for the retest of that as well. And I do like UNSD to the downside. Euro Aussie, I mean, that's Euro Aussie. Euro NSD I do like as well, but it just needs to have a much bigger breakout. So I need just about clear the low. I need momentum. I need distance. That's the only way I'm going to short this one as well. And yeah, that's about it. Aussie CHF I do like, but it's still hanging on to support in the daily chart, so I can't take any shorts just yet with that one. Still holding on to this level here, so not ready yet. Dark Sean. 191.8. Bit price to go higher on the higher time frame, but I'm hunting on the 5 minutes so I can get entries in both directions. Okay, I see. So you're looking for a bigger pullback, but you're looking to try and take advantage of those fluctuations in the lower time frame. So you sell down, buy it back up. I understand. Yeah, for me on the high time frames, I'm just looking to short. I'm just looking for the pullback really. You said 191.8. 191.8. So that's roughly around here. So okay, so that little area there. So yeah, I'm looking at this area and pretty much that area there too, around 190, 192, 192.5. That's pretty much the areas I'm looking to short from, for pound yen as well, especially where we're trading to. If you look to the left, massive lows here on the daily chart and 4-hour chart, which we've taken out too. So I do expect to see a bigger pullback here for pound yen. And yeah, I'm just going to wait to see if we can get that. Of course, I know you're on the 5-minute chart, so you're not going to wait for price to get all the way up there first before you do take a trade. But yeah, it does look good. You're going to have to wait patiently. I'm looking for pretty much the same move across the board for the yen pairs. See if we can get that bigger pullback and get that continuation. In terms of the CAD pairs, they've been a little bit choppy. I know CAD's been in a bit of the firing line a little bit, so we have seen a bit of noise in that regard. But I'm keeping an eye on New Zealand CAD because I did like this pair, still do, but it's not really playing ball at the moment. We did get a really nice retest of this area. I was talking about some retests of this level last week for some entries. We did have a nice reaction. However, we didn't break for the low. I was speaking a lot about this on the weekly analysis. I said, if we're going to break the low, then we're in business to look for some more entries underneath and continue that path back to the lows. If we don't break for the low, we could double bottom, push right back up, and it doesn't become a nice prospect to trade. On the daily chart, we still do have a pretty nice bearish trend. So as you can see here, still seeing lower lows and lower highs. Market still trending very, very well to the downside. So I'm expecting price to continue, and I'm looking for price to hit these lows here. So that's very much the play in my head for New Zealand CADs and the analysis of what I'm looking to do. However, in terms of finding entries, the best place for an entry was the high of the channel. So pretty much as we gapped for the week there, finding entries straight away would be the best place to take a trade. I'm not really looking to take entries right at the start of the week anyway, but that would have been the best time to take the trade. With stop loss above the highs there as well. That way you kind of wet out the way of the noise and you can kind of just leave price do its thing. Stop loss to break even. If it gets back to your break even, so be it. If it pushes to your targets, fantastic. At the moment, price did respect the low, so he didn't get the continuation. It might be a situation where price does push back to the high for another retest before selling, but then it becomes a bit more corrective or lacking momentum. I don't think it becomes a nice opportunity. I'm looking at Aussie CAD, its partner in crime, and that's just not looking particularly great either as well. The fact is we didn't even get to the low, we're looking pretty bullish. Price starts taking out that high. I start to wonder, is this just a big correction, a big flag pattern for continuation? I'm definitely getting some signs for it, but then would I want to trade that continuation? No, because if I look at the higher time frame, is this a trend worth my time to try and keep buying? No. So it just becomes a very choppy prospect and not really a clean-cut opportunity. Because again, when you look at take your trades, especially if you're trading with a discretionary bias, so your trading rules are not necessarily kind of completely systematic and completely kind of just A plus B equals C. If you do have to use discretion, you have to pick and choose your entries and decide which setup you're going to take. Then you always want to be waiting for the best setup, because you can have a very, very simple edge and trade it unprofitably and trade it profitably. The difference is your decision making when you take your positions and your decision making when you exit your positions. That's really the separation between profitability and unprofitability. So when you're trading, definitely a lot of market patterns, which is what I do. There's a lot of importance in terms of your decision making and your consistency with that. If you start to slack and become complacent, the market would definitely punish you. And of course, it rewards you if you do stay consistent and make good decisions. Well, at the moment, Aussie CAD not really seeing much there. So staying away from Aussie CAD. CAD pairs in general haven't been particularly great. Okay, I'll take a look at pound NZD first for CAD, and then I'll take a look at the other CAD pairs as well. Pound NZD, I'm actually favoring a bit more downside for this one. Not necessarily in terms of the bigger trend because it's still very much up. We're still seeing pretty consistent higher highs and higher lows, as we can see. So the overall trend is definitely pointing up. So I'm not looking for a big sell like that. To be fair, I'm actually am looking at for that big sell, but I'm not going to start talking about that until I start to see lows being taken out. Then I'll start talking about that big sell, because on the higher time frames, we're trading at an area where I do actually think we might see a continuation of this drop here. So I do think eventually we will go through a big drop, but that's a story for a completely another day. At the moment, the trend is still very much up, so we're still very much looking to keep buying with that until proven otherwise. On an intraday level, however, I do think there could be some nice shorts though, because we had this bullish structure on the 4-hour chart. Market broke out the consolidation, had a nice move to the upside, formed a higher low, then formed a higher high, but then we went and broke the lows. So all the momentum we had here to the upside was pretty much invalidated because price came straight back down and took out the lows there. So I do expect to see price push back down and continue to take out these lows and push back to support. This is what I was describing on the weekly analysis. I do think price is going to get back to 2.17 there. So in terms of shorting pound NZD, I do agree with that, at least in the short, medium term point of view, back to 2.17. I think that makes a load of sense. Of course, we have to watch out as we get there because, as we said, still very consistent with the higher lows. We could respect the low and continue our bullish path there. So we have to watch out for that. But if I drop to the hourly chart, as I said, we broke through structure on the left, and I especially like it because we had so much momentum there as well. Typically, if you're going to see momentum like this in the market, most of the time we'll correct and then continue because there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of buyers. The fact that we pushed up really aggressively just to see price go and break through is a big sign that, okay, we don't have enough energy to see upside. We most likely are going to continue lower. So very, very bearish here for pound NZD. In terms of entries for the trade, though, I think hourly looks good, but I'd wait for price to push back to the high here. Possibly even wick through it. That would be a very nice confluence, and then look for entries at least back to the low there. If I can find some entries over here, that would be very nice, because again, essentially what we're looking for is the pullback of this leg. So that would be testing 0.618, which is great. Generally speaking, this is a healthy place to short from. Lines up pretty well with the prior low there as well. So of course, support now be flipped as resistance. And it would be nice if you can wick through as well, because there'll be some earlier traders. I think this move happened last week. Yeah, that was off the back of an NFP. So there'll be some stop losses above here. It'd be nice if you can go and take them out, take that liquidity out as well, and then see the follow through. And then, of course, you got some lovely targets there. And if you want to shoot for some a bit more aggressive targets, you got 2.17 below you there as well. So that would be the idea for pound NZD. And then I'll expect more downside off the back of that. But yeah, a bit more of the intraday setup. Not necessarily a big swing. I mean, I say not necessarily a big swing. It's still a pretty big swing if I measure that in pips. Still looking at least 200. Yeah, 240 there. So it's a pretty big move. But of course, if you're looking for a swing back to the low there, that's still 85 pips. Still a decent move. You get yourself a 30 pip stop loss. You're almost looking at a 1 to 3. 40 pip stop loss. Easily a 1 to 2 there. So, you can find some decent risk reward. No problem. Happy to help Kadam. Anyway, so as I was saying with the CAD pairs, not a big fan of them. Euro CAD for some reason was absolutely melting last week. I don't know if it was CAD. Was it CAD strength? No, it was NFP. We happened to know NFP. I think CAD was strong as well because we had CAD unemployment rate, I think, at the same time as NFP, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it was CAD just being strong, which played the role. Yeah, so EuroCAD was melting to the downside really aggressively last week. As I've been saying for EuroCAD, I don't really have a clear bias with this one. Again, especially in FX, most of the time, I don't really have a clear setup for a market. Most of the time, I'm kind of just keeping up to date with price action, monitoring price, waiting for a good time, and then looking to strike when the iron's hot, because I trade about 32 different markets. And at one time, there's probably about 5 pairs that actually look good. And maybe out of those 5, probably only 3 actually do give you a good trade, probably per week. Of course, it could fluctuate a lot. You might get 10 good trades in a week, you might get none. So that's just 3 to 4 on average, but you could get 10, you could get 0. But most of the time, there isn't actually a good opportunity in the market, especially on a swing bias as well. Intraday, things can change pretty quickly. Things can look very dead on Monday. Suddenly, everything's popping off by Tuesday. But on the 4-hour chart, daily chart, it does takes a while to get ready for a nice trade, which is why I trade a lot. So always make sure I've got enough opportunities to take the trades I want to take. But anyway, for EuroCAD, this market's been completely flat for a while, for the past 2 years, really. So there hasn't really been many good opportunities to trade it. In fairness, I can't remember the last time I did place a trade in EuroCAD, so it's been a while. I think I did catch some shorts down here, but that's back in 2023 September. So potentially might be like a year and a half since I placed the trade. But again, if the market's not good, I'm not trying to force anything. That's the main point I'm trying to illustrate here. And it's still not looking great. So the wait will continue. We're back at an area where we did see some upside and we did create some new highs. So possibly we might see a bit of a higher low form here, another push to the upside. The reason why I wouldn't look to trade this is just because we're in very choppy conditions, the market sideways. If this was overall an uptrend, then yeah, sure. I think that would be a really nice place for an opportunity, excuse me. That would be a really nice opportunity for a trade. Really what I'm waiting for EuroCAD is to go and break the highs, or of course break the lows. Doesn't really matter. But if you can break the highs, that'd be great. That'll show me intent to go to the upside, and then I'll be looking for the next higher low, so on and so forth. And then yeah, EuroCAD will be a pair that finds itself on the watch list for myself. But right now it's extremely flat. At the moment, it's a nice place for a buy. But I think I'll just keep it temporary with the buys as well. So even if a good buy setup does form, I wouldn't get too excited and try and shoot for the moon. Possibly maybe just back into that consolidation. I think that would be a good trade and call it a day there. Pound CAD, however, that has been trending to the upside. So the price action has been a lot better for this one, although we are starting to consolidate now. So forming some equal highs there, equal lows here. So things are getting a bit more choppy now. But again, I feel like this one's going to eventually break out soon. Again, whether to the upside, to the downside, not too bothered. But when we do commit to a direction, I feel like there will be some really nice opportunities, especially if it's to the downside. This one's been trending to the upside for a while. So if you do break down, I feel like there'll be a really nice counter trend trade to take advantage of. But at the moment, very, very flat here for pound CAD as well. I do fancy more downside back into the low of the range, but I'm not really looking to trade this one. So yeah, pound CAD pairs, not really a big fan of. Damn, yes, New Zealand CHF, caught sell. Okay, 0.157 last time. I'm actually looking to sell New Zealand CHF. I'm pretty bearish bias on that, so I'll go through that next. In fact, we'll go through a bunch of CHF pairs actually. Calm down. What's up? Euro USD good for a long. Okay, I'll go for Euro USD. Let me just get New Zealand CHF out the way. So yeah, with New Zealand CHF, I'm actually looking to short this one as well. It's on the watch list for myself, so it's a pair I'm actively looking to take trades. In fact, this is the setup I'm looking for. You said you caught some sells from 0.517. I'm looking for sells from roughly 0.517 as well. So basically back at the high. So yeah, I would look for more downside. The only thing I don't like about New Zealand CHF is this big wick here. Of course, is when we had the gap from last week. The big gaps across the market. I don't like that big wick because it's like price broke out of this channel. It tried to sell off but failed. So I don't like that. However, if we can see some strong rejection at the high, I'll look to short it. Again, I'll go to break even and manage the trade. I won't just be a one-trick pony all the way to that low. All in or all in or all nothing. That's not how the saying goes. But yeah, I think that's a really nice place to short. That's the only thing I don't like about the trade. But yeah, I do agree that's still a nice place to short. I would wait for price to probably take out the wick high there a little bit. Um, so we know that price is grabbing fresh highs and then look to short. We're testing a big level in the daily chart as well. So really big support here on the left, which gave us a really big move to the upside. Now that we flipped resistance as well, we're still putting in lower highs. So I think it's still a great place to short. And again, if things go well, it could be a really nice trade all the way back to the low there too. I would just be a bit careful in terms of don't leave it too late to go to break even or trail a stop. Happy to help, Gadam. Always nice to see analysis match. Yeah, it's like a confluence in itself, isn't it? It's like a confluence. But yeah, again, that's the funny thing in terms of analysis. A lot of people have roughly the same idea of the market, especially if you've got a bit of experience when trading, and you're kind of looking at a similar system as well. Because I'm looking at trend following continuation play. So if you have the same kind of idea in terms of that trading style, if you're looking for trend continuation and you trade in the same time frames as me, most of the time you probably will have a similar bias to me. Might not take the same trades necessarily, but if we both look at the same market, we probably would have roughly the same idea of what we're expecting to see happen. Of course, if you have a bit of a different style, you're a bit more counter trend or mean reversion, then of course things will look a little bit different. Anyway, let's go for Euro USD. So yeah, Euro USD for this one. Again, Euro USD, I don't like this at all. To be honest, is it good for a long? Potentially. I do fancy a bit of a move to the downside for the DXY. So if I do fancy a move to the downside for the dollar, then I kind of do fancy a move to the upside for Euro, but it's not looking that great. I did say in my weekly analysis, this might just be a correction here of this move, but I wouldn't trade it until we do get back above the highs, because at least at that point, we're forming higher highs and higher lows again. There's a bit of structure we can trade there for a buy. But speaking truthfully, for Euro USD, I just don't like the price action altogether. It's still very much a bearish market in the higher time frames. It's still very much trend to the downside. We're trading below the lows here as well. So the market is bearish. However, in terms of the quality of the setup, I don't like it. It potentially is getting ready for a move to the upside. The fact that we are still so corrective, failing to take out the lows here, it's a sign of a market that might be forming a bottom, maybe, and get ready for a push to the upside. But it's just not looking that great yet. If we can start taking out highs or taking out this high as well, that'd be great if we did that. Then the next pullback will make a load more sense, and then the buy side will be a lot easier to trade. So it might be getting ready for a long, but I don't think it's a good long just yet. And that's not to say that if you do take a trade, if you do take a long, it's not going to work out. But of course, I'm not a fortune teller. I can only trade based on patterns, based on back tested information. And if I'm looking to take a long, it's because there's clear evidence of bullish structure in my favor, and I'm looking for a higher low in that structure. At the moment, there is no clear bullish structure, so any buys right now are not within my kind of trading style, not within my expectations of the market. The moment we do place some really good bullish structure in, we see a nice swing to the upside and create new highs, then I can be a bit more help there and talk about some longs and locations where to get long. But right now, there's no clear bullish structure, so I'll wait until that forms. Okay, no problem to help. No problem, happy to help. But yeah, it's not looking great. DXY as well, not looking great there too. As I said earlier, the only USD pairs which I do like is dollar CAD downside and silver upside. Those two pairs look good, and even so, they're not even ready to be looking to trade it just yet. It's just the price action setting up well for them. And yeah, DXY, same situation. I am looking for a move to the downside here for the dollar. Essentially, what I'm looking at is this is a correction of this bearish move. So I do fancy this to happen for the dollar. So I kind of do expect Euro to do the opposite, but it's just I wouldn't place a trade there. There's a difference between a good trade and just an expectation of the market. You want to be able to differentiate between the two. Otherwise, you might start taking trades when there isn't really a trade just because you expect the market to be bullish or bearish, which is a very slippery slope to get in because there is no edge there. It's just you having a feeling of what the market's going to do, which you could be right, but over 100 trades, you might come into an issue there. But if you've got an edge in the market over 100 trades, you're going to come out with a profit. So you can be consistent with that. But yeah, DXY not looking great, so kind of just waiting for that to clear up. In terms of the rest of the CHF pairs, though, so New Zealand CHF we had a look at, Pound CHF we had a look at briefly as well. As I said with this one, just basic consolidation, waiting for opportunities to short. I'm looking for a big swing back to the low over here, so that is very much the plan I have with Pound CHF. I've been looking for this for a very long while, just taking its sweet time. In fairness, the range has started since September 2024. So it's been a good few months now we've been trapped in this range. And I don't mind it as well because the breakout of a range, typically the longer we're in it, the bigger the breakout. So I do expect to see some really nice momentum either which way. And if it's the downside, then I'm all over that. Hopefully I can find an opportunity to take a trade. But I'm either looking to take some shorts at the high or waiting for a breakout of the low. I'm not really interested in the buys because essentially I'm looking for the continuation of this bearish move here. Just like what happened with the yen pairs, we had a massive sell-off with the CHF pairs as well. And I'm still looking for the continuation of that move. So that's still very much the plan. But no trade just yet. Aussie CHF, which is a very similar pair to New Zealand CHF. As I said, I'm looking to short New Zealand CHF, but I'm not quite ready yet to short Aussie CHF because we're still trading at massive support, as we can see here. So at 0.562, really big support here on the daily chart, and especially from last week as well. We actually had a really big piercing wick through that zone. This is from the gap we created last week. And overall, the market is just holding that level of support. So even though there is some bear structure at play, high, low, lower high, lower low, we could be forming a lower high to go and break through. That could be the case, but I won't be looking to sell until below. Then I'll have the confidence to hold on to shorts, expect to push back to the low here, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, we could very much see price do what we did over there, which is just keep bouncing and give us some really big moves to the upside, which I'm just not really interested in at the moment. So yeah, Aussie CHF, the moment we do break underneath this, I will be looking for sells. In terms of CAD CHF, so CAD CHF, yeah, is another one that's in a range as well. I actually like this one to the upside. This is like one of the CHF pairs, which I actually don't mind buying. Most CHF pairs I'm pretty bearish on. Again, I'm looking at, let me actually go to the weekly chart. If I go to the higher time frames, particularly the weekly, you can see over what the market is doing. And we're trading this area here, forming lower lows and lower highs. So at the moment, I am pushing for a move back into the zone up there, basically the upper trend line. That is essentially what I'm looking at here for CAD CHF, because basically we've spiked through the low, rejected it, and we've just been moving sideways since then. So the expectation now is a pullback for either price to break out or just continue and continue the trend. But the expectation is a pullback. So in terms of a good opportunity, equally like Pound CHF, it's been a long range. I've been in there for a while. So I'm expecting a really nice breakout, a lot of momentum. And if I can find a pullback, that'll be absolutely fantastic. And I'll be looking to trade that. So again, there's the high of the range, waiting for price to break out of that as well. And then I'll be looking for opportunities to trade that to the upside. So this is something I'll keep a very close eye on for Euro, for CAD CHF. And then in terms of Euro CHF, this one, again, very, very choppy as well. If I go to the weekly chart, again, things are still pretty bearish. I do think a bigger pullback is on the cards. So if I draw a similar channel like we had with CAD CHF, I do think at some point we will see a bigger pullback to that area, but I don't really have the structure for it just yet. Yeah, it's looking very, very correct. We did have some nice higher highs and higher lows, but price did break out that 4-hour channel, and now I have no idea what price is doing here. Consolidating there as well underneath the gap. So just things are looking very ugly there for for EUR/CHF. So yeah, personally not really interested in this one. I'll leave this one do its thing. Hopefully, you can clean up and we can find some better opportunities shortly. Shortly after, but at the moment, EUR/CHF is not looking great too. So I do like CAD/CHF to break to the upside. The moment it does have a big breakout to the upside, I look to add that to the watch list. The moment Aussie/CHF breaks support to the downside, I'll look to add that to the watch list as well. So type, there we go. So the moment price does break that support, I'll add that to the watch list. New Zealand CHF already on the watch list, looking for sales for that one. So keeping a very close eye there. There we go. So keeping a very close eye of that high. And yeah, pound CHF, keeping a very close eye on the potential breakout of that range. Other than that, just going to wait to see how things develop. But most of my attention is on the yen pairs, really. So that's where my focus will be. In terms of BTC, I haven't actually looked at Bitcoin yet since the weekend. Okay, so not much has happened really for Bitcoin, to be honest. Seeing a bit of momentum at the moment, but overall still stuck within the range high and the range low, which is where the key focus is. So with Bitcoin, I am still very bullish on this one overall. If you do get too sucked into the low time frames, best thing to do is always zoom out, look at the bigger picture, see what price is doing. And the overall price is definitely very much in a bullish trend. We did have a consolidation over here, but what happened? Price eventually broke out and flew to the upside. You can even argue this was a consolidation, and same with this as well, and even that too. And you could even argue this was a consolidation too before the break to the upside. So the market has been moving very, very well for Bitcoin. Has its impulse, has the consolidation / pause / correction, whatever you want to call it. And then it has the continuation. So at the initial consolidation at the low, big break, consolidation, big break, consolidation, big break, consolidation, big break, and now consolidation as well over here as well. So are we going to see a continuation of this pattern, which is just another consolidation for another big break to the upside? In terms of the likelihood, that's probably the most likely move. Or we could finally see a break of the pattern, but just a bigger pullback in terms of we don't break to the upside this time, we break to the downside to have a bigger pullback, and then we push. So it might be to come back and retest the high there, and then we push on. Overall, it's been a very consistent move for Bitcoin. Consolidation, continuation, consolidation, continuation. This time just may be no different. So if you're looking to trade that, you're either looking to do one or two things. Either buy at the low of the range here, then hold to the high. Maybe you want to leave some positions to run in case we break out, or you wait for the breakout and look for some pullbacks on low time frames. We don't always get the retest. You can see some of these breakouts here. I know if you drop to the lower time frames, you might see some retest, but you can see big candles kind of just shooting to the upside. It's not like a normal FX market where we do see frequent retests. When we break out, we break out. So if you do see a strong breakout, you might not necessarily get the retest you're looking for, but there might be a low time frame correction somewhere. So the better trades and the more kind of the trade you're likely to catch and hold is probably just the retest of the low here, which is a great trade in itself. You're right below the range, you can find a nice little stop loss below the low. And if it plays out, risk rewards very much in your favor. But yeah, Bitcoin's still very bullish, but we are stuck. Dark Sean, GJ, be boring till New York Open. Okay, I'll have a look. No problem, all that. Happy to help. We'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow. Is GJ just flat right now? Uh, I mean, it's doing well. I mean, did respect that area there at 188.9, so it held well, but it hasn't created new lows yet. So you're not completely out the woods. We could still push back up, and things can get interesting. But we are picking up momentum. That was a nice, completely missed the candle there. That was a nice close on the previous candle there. No weight to the downside, so still implying momentum to the downside there. If we can go and break this low, maybe see another candle close similar to the one we just had, then yeah, it probably will just continue to fall there in the next few candlesticks. So I think things look good. Yeah, we're not dumping hard. It is still a very corrective move. So yeah, maybe you don't really do much until New York Open, but I would say your trade's still looking good. You said you'll break even already, so worst case scenario price suddenly makes a move to break even. At the moment, still price is forming those lower highs, so I think that's a really positive sign. And if you can keep breaking the lows, I do expect us to keep pushing. Of course, whether we get all the way to the target or not, that's going to be up to pound yen, but we are continuing that trend. Move TP to okay, 40 pips. If not here to next hour, I'll close the trade. Need to be somewhere. Okay, need to be somewhere in an hour and a half. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Of course, you don't want to be in a position where, especially in the 5 minute chart as well, going to the New York session, you don't want to be in a situation where you can't monitor your trade if you're busy. But yeah, if that's the plan, I think that's a good idea, especially if you're going somewhere as well and you won't be at the charts. So yeah, I would close the trade as well in that situation. But it still looks good. Whether we get to the 40 pip target or not, let's see. I think we could in an hour. That's like what? How many 5 minute candles is that? That's 12. I'd say 12 is more than enough for us to hit the 40 pip target. So, oh, just picked up the pace there as well. That's the thing about the 5 minute candles. They can just suddenly just look very bearish or very bullish out of nowhere. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it, Dark Sean. I think in an hour's time should be enough to hit the 40 pips. I think moving the target from 50 to 40 was a good move, especially if you're going somewhere, because 50 might be a bit difficult. Let me actually have a look at the news for the afternoon. Now it's moving, but the volume's still low. Yeah. Okay, there's actually not much today. Of course, we got the Trump speech, but in terms of scheduled news reports, do you have Aussie news in the evening, 11:30 UK time? So I can keep an eye on that. Tomorrow we've got a Fed testimony from Powell. That's at 3 o'clock UK time. That could be interesting, but aside from that, pretty much nothing. Wednesday CPI 130. That could be very interesting. Of course, for USD there. Yeah, so that's a big one to keep a close eye on at 130 Wednesday. That's pretty much the only news for Wednesday to keep an eye on. Thursday GDP for pound. Again, that could cause some movement for pound, but nothing that will concern me too much. Jobless claims for the dollar, PPI as well. That could cause a bit of movement there for USD, so I'd keep an eye on that. And then Friday, Euro GDP as well, USD retail sales. It's not really a massive week. I mean, CPI is the real big one. PPI can move a little bit, but I wouldn't be too worried about them. So yeah, I think GDP, PPI, CPI are the big ones, but yeah, nothing CAD really. So yeah, But yeah, in terms of my watch list, like I said, it relies a lot on the JPY pairs, and although there's no scheduled news for the JPY, we could very much sell off aggressively out of nowhere. Depends what the Bank of Japan wants to do. It's not always scheduled in the economic calendar, so who knows what these guys will do. Oh, I was already on JPY. But yeah, still pretty bearish on this one. All things are looking pretty bearish there. Just gone and broken through the low there on the 5-minute. Things are looking good there, Dark Sean. Momentum's picking up. I mean, other yen pairs, I do want to see a lot more upside first. So going to have to be patient for that. I think Swiss yen's probably my favorite, so I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. In terms of oil, what we do? Okay, oil, we're finally seeing some upside. I've been very bearish on oil, but since we have got to this consolidation here, I would be very, very skeptical. We had a really nice rejection of this trend line here as well. Now we'll be looking to start trade oil this year, add it to the watch list. I've been looking for oil for a few years now. I haven't really looked to trade it, but yeah, the plan this year is to expand the palette, because if there's a good opportunity, why miss out on it? Of course, it's not a pair which I've traded a lot, but that's how you become comfortable with a pair, by trading it. So oil, are we looking to try and add that to the watch list a lot more this year? But in terms of oil, nice lower highs, saw a really nice rejection over there. However, as I talked about last week, we're coming to an area of consolidation where all of this bullish momentum did come from. So I'm actually a bit skeptical here. I was originally looking for oil to come back into the swing low down at 65.44. However, the move has been so corrective. We've been slowly moving to the downside, chugging away to the downside, and it has not been an impressive move. It's not like prices dumped, saw a lot of momentum, and was moving like this. If that was the case, then I would be a lot more confident of oil getting to the lows. But because it's so corrective, we're coming to an area of consolidation. This could be an area that does drive price a lot higher. So if I was shorting oil from up here, I would be looking to lock in gains or trail a bit more aggressively, because I'm getting prepared for the move up against me. Yeah, I'll be prepared for that. I still would be bearish because of the lower highs and looking at that being the next one, but price could definitely turn around. Finally, volume starting to play ball. Is pound yen falling? Okay, it is. Has that hit 40 pips? Probably more or less 40 pips. New target back to 70 pips, stop loss, 20 pips profit. Okay, looking to try and stretch the trade now. Yeah, hopefully it can stay like that and doesn't dry up again. But yeah, I mean, if you're going somewhere an hour and a half, then you can still kind of try and take advantage of that time. If price is looking good and you're still at the charts, might as well take advantage of that. But yeah, if momentum picks up, who knows? Maybe you can go and hit the 70 pip target. But yeah, with pound yen, I do still see a lot of downside for this one. So I'm getting very excited about the bigger term move, longer term move. Long term move for this one back to 183. Same with all the yen pairs, really. But I just hope we do see that bigger pullback. How is euro yen looking as well? So yeah, a little bit bearish on the lower time frames. But again, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, so a lot has to happen for me to get that pullback. And in fact, if you are going to see that pullback, that might even take a week itself to see that upside. So Not too concerned about that. But the low highs is definitely what I'm looking for. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. But in terms of the markets I'm looking to trade this week, I'll probably say silver is probably the closest to form, and maybe New Zealand CHF as well in terms of like the next day or two. Which broker? Oh, and yeah. So silver is probably the closest, along with New Zealand CHF. So if silver hasn't moved down back into support, I'm looking to buy. If New Zealand CHF moves back into resistance, takes up the high there, I mean, it's still got a bit of a way, to be fair. Nothing's right quite at the moment. Nothing's like at a level which I'm looking for entries just yet. There's quite a few pairs I'm looking at, but nothing in terms of entry just yet. But if you do see a bit more move to the upside, back to 0.517, then I'll start looking for some entries there, and hopefully a big move to the downside. Okay. Okay, so do you look at a lot of volume, dark Shom, in your trading? I've never really looked into volume, to be honest. Well, I did right at the beginning, but I didn't really learn how to use it that well, so I didn't really stick with it, and I ditched it pretty early. But I know some traders that use volume quite a lot, especially with indices, stocks a lot as well. Not a lot of people use it in FX though, but people that I know who do it use it a lot more in the lower time frames. Okay, which calculates delta volume and it helps a lot. Okay. So is it a big part of your trading, that indicator? So like a situation where you won't take a trade if the volume is not in your favor, or is it just like a good indication if you should hold a trade or close a trade? Because I don't know many people that use. Actually, yeah, I do know. I don't know many, but I do know a couple. I suppose it depends what you're looking at, because swing traders, I don't know any. Okay, if the trend is up, but the volume is close to zero or negative, I don't take the trade. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, sign a reversal because lack of buying pressure, so expecting price to turn around. Okay, yeah, I understand that as well. I know a lot of people who kind of look at that in terms of the RSI. Of course, that's nothing to do with volume necessarily, but it's the same situation where you've got divergence, you got an uptrend, but now price is no longer making new highs on the RSI indicator, so expect to see reversal there as well. Of course, it's a different situation, but it's the same kind of idea that there's not enough, um, to take the trend higher. So now expect it to reverse as well. Different kettle of fish, but same idea. But yeah, it's nothing I really looked into it. Maybe at some point I do look into it in a lot more detail, but at the moment, yeah, especially on the indicators and trading view, I haven't really found a good one for volume. But yeah, New Zealand CHF looks the best for me, so that's really where my focus will be. But I'll let you guys know if I do find any other opportunities. It will most likely be for New Zealand CHF or silver. Dollar CAD, if it does break out, then I'll start looking at that a bit more closely as well. But it hasn't really broke out just yet, so I have to be patient. But as always, guys, I will be live again tomorrow, live every day this week, as always. Do drop a like if you found the stream useful. Hit the subscribe button as well if you do want to see more of the content. And of course, hit the bell too so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. Can't miss it. You can, of course, find a lot more information about Elevating Traders, but also chat with other traders, chat with myself. I'm there, share opportunities there as well. Any questions, you can drop it there and you can get your questions answered. But make sure you go check it out. Link to that in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, really appreciate you tuning into the stream. Have a great Monday. Take care with your trading, of course. I think we've got some USD potential moves later with Trump, so watch out for that. But as always, guys, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.